All right, let's talk about Kyle Shanahan, the job he did today. I mean, he won. His offense put up 34 points. He found a another weapon in Brian Robinson Jr. I don't understand why they traded for him if they weren't going to use him. And the idea was, one, keep Christian McCaffrey fresh. They're not doing that. But two, use Robinson in the red zone. It should help them score touchdowns. They have one of the worst red zone scoring percentages in the league. They finally gave him the ball. He scored from the 18-yard line, kind of pressed the issue. He's been doing such a great job as a kick returner as well. It's kind of like leaving them no choice. And no offense to Christian McCaffrey, but guy's still averaging like 30-something yards a carry. Couldn't be worse. From an efficiency standpoint, at least he's, hell of a receiver and he's durable. But yeah, I mean, you can mix in another guy, especially if that guy's averaging like 10 yards a carry, like Brian Robinson Jr. did today. So good for Kyle in those ways. Here's what I didn't like from Kyle. A few things. One, Kyle Williams being in the game that late, unfortunate. Two, Christian McCaffrey being in the game late. After Kyle Williams went down, what was there like? They were up 10 with like 2 minutes left and you're handing off to Christian? No, not on this surface. Not in this game. Not when you're up 10 on this awful turf after watching Kyle Williams tear his ACL. Like, you're asking for trouble. So didn't like it. Didn't cost him. No harm, no foul. But these are little details that I'd like Kyle Shanahan to clean up, right? You talk about players with their execution and the little stuff they need to clean up. How about Kyle? Big things with Kyle, he does a good job. Little things, that's what I'm talking about. How about the jet sweep he called for George Kittle? That was one of the worst calls Kyle Shanahan has ever called with the 49ers. He called it 4 or 5 years ago for George Kittle. It was a bad idea then when he was 27. Now it's terrible. It's the kind of call Kyle would have called, I keep using that word, for Deebo Samuel. And that would have been a good one for Deebo a few years ago, but there's really no one on this team who can execute that, which is too bad because that's really been Kyle Shanahan's best red zone play for years. The jet sweep, the end around. But they don't have anyone like, so I hated that call. And to Kyle's credit, after the game, someone asked him in his press conference, what was that? In a nicer way. He was like, yeah, that was a bad play call. You don't hear Kyle do that very much. He's feeling secure about it. He's feeling secure about himself, not insecure, when he can say that. So shout out to Kyle for that one. Still awful play call. He knows it. And then the final one, you have the ball at the end of the first half. This one blew my mind. You're going to get the ball to start the third quarter. You have every reason to be super conservative here. You could literally take a knee, end the first half, get the ball back at the same field position in the third quarter. If you wanted to be as conservative as possible, you can guarantee the Giants don't touch the ball again in the second quarter. Instead, Kyle passed. Okay, fine, man. I'm not saying you got to be the most conservative play caller of all time. Fine. Take a shot, even though it's the Giants and they suck and you're going to win and you're just giving them an opportunity to get back in the game with the turnover, but fine. What you can't do is call a deep drop for Mac Jones and not chip on Colton McKivitz's side. Because Colton McKivitz isn't good, even though you paid him. Even though you talk yourself into saying that he's a gritty guy, like he's not good. He makes Mike McGlinchey look like prime Trent Williams. He needs help. And in that situation, you left him one-on-one with Brian Burns deep in your own territory. Like, should Mac Jones have stepped up in the pocket and got rid of it? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Josh Allen would have. Mac Jones isn't quite that. And he fumbled. And the Giants recovered. And what did they do? Missed a field goal so we can all laugh about it. Haha, it doesn't matter. Sure, of course it doesn't. But in the future, Kyle, what are you going to do in that situation? I bet you he goes conservative. I'm not saying you have to just run the ball out. You don't have to do that. But if that team has the sack, like the number one sack leader in the league, you did this against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Hassan Reddick led the league in sacks that season, and you left him one-on-one with the backup tight end, and he mangled Brock Purdy's elbow. This time, Brian Burns leading the league in sacks. You let him go one-on-one with Colton McKivitz. That could have made the game a lot closer, but the Giants are truly one of a kind. So, yeah, man, just help Colton. He's not as good as you think he is. I know you love the Colton McKivitz experience because you don't really want to invest highly in offensive linemen. You want someone like him who's gritty and blue collar. It's just he's not good. So I don't know how well Kyle Shanahan coached in this game. 34 points is 34 points. And that's like Kyle Shanahan in a nutshell for me. Even in his best performances, there's these little details that you feel that just slipped through the cracks that he wasn't thinking about.